this before. Okay.
No, it's in the county, right? It's not in the city.
Right.
Hello, Mr. Monday.
Good afternoon. I hereby call this May the 8th meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. As always, our first item of discussion is always to thank our police, our fire, and our emergency management departments for the work that you do to move our community forward. I want to give a special shout out to Chief Mayo and the fire department. I understand they had the firehouse uncoupling last week. Congratulations, sir. We appreciate you and your department for your work, and thank you all for what you do for our community. Items on the consent agenda, well, for those who may not know, the agenda is broken up into two parts. You've got the consent agenda, you've got the general agenda. Items on the general agenda, consent agenda are typically approved with the sweeping motion unless a member of the committee or council asks an item to be pulled for consideration. With that being said, members of the committee and council, are there any items on consent that we should pull for consideration? If there's not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor to approve the consent agenda, please vote yes. Opposers, no. And I believe the consent agenda is approved unanimously. Before we move to the general agenda, I do want to just thank our city manager, Mr. Garrity, and the management staff also for the work that you do for the city of Winston-Salem. Speaking of management staff, Ms. Tony, who heads our public safety departments, we'll hear from her in just a moment. Item G1, please.
Item G1, resolution authorizing the acquisition of property in the Salem Creek Business Park for a new police driving training facility for $1.2 million with funding provided from the 2018 bonds.
Assistant City Manager Tony.
Good evening, Chair Taylor, members of the committee and council. Again, my name is Patrice Tony, and we have been for several years looking at a potential land location for a public safety driving range. It was part of a 2018 bond referendum package of about $3.2 million. And it was difficult over time finding a parcel of land that wasn't close to residential, that was large enough to meet the requirements for police and fire, and just had all the elements that would work. We have finally nailed down a location. They have come down to a price that is reasonable within our capacity and funding capacity to purchase it. It is a little bit over 30 acres, but about 10 of it is buildable. And so we would like to request authority to move forward with this resolution to acquire property at Salem Creek Business Park for a new public safety driving and training facility. I will note that this would be a phase one, and so land acquisition and funding the initial driving pad is phase one. And so that is what the original bond order included. So there will be a phase two approach to build out the facility further for training, for fire tower, and other facilities around the property to make it a active training ground.
Any questions for Ms. Tony? Councilmember
Monday.
Well, I saw several hands go up at the same time, and I locked up. So we'll start with Councilmember Monday, and we'll work our way around.
Thank you. Timing. This is all in the next fiscal year. The phase one is in the next fiscal year. Is that correct?
It's current. I mean, it's with 2018 bond funding, so we have the money now, and we will likely go forward with the acquisition of the land now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then phase two, or the next phase, when do you anticipate that?
So phase two, what we'll look at is, we've already had some preliminary estimates from Bar Construction, but what we'll do is see what we can do with the existing resources first. So, I mean, if we can build out the driving pad, if we can add a bathroom facility, whatever we can do with our existing resources, and then we will recalibrate in a way to see what's remaining and what's desired of our public safety officials, and then come back with you for a proposal. We'll need to look at other funding sources. If it's significant, it might be a next bond referendum. So we'll come back with you.
Okay,
with
so not a
phase
hard and
2.
fast timeline.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Larson.
I have a couple of questions. Is this in the city or in the county, is this property?
This is right outside the city limits.
Can we anticipate annexing it then?
No, but that's always a possibility.
I would think since it's going to be a city police training center, we should be in the city with it, just as a matter of record. Is the water and sewer and electricity available at this site currently, close by?
There's close by because they've just sold all of the parcels right adjacent to the property at this point, and so it's likely very accessible.
Hey, and what's the topography? Do we have a creek running through here?
There is a creek that runs behind the property, so parts of it is in a floodplain, and that's why the impervious surface is kind of what we were focusing on the sale or to make the request for purchase. So it doesn't hinder the 10 acres that we need to build the driving range. With the phase 2, as we add, say, a fire tower or any other resources, we potentially could even build one in the floodplain. It wouldn't matter as much. There could be some other training opportunities in other parts of it, but yes, behind it there's a small creek.
So it's 10 acres out of the 37, is 30, whatever it is,
Yes.
37 acres is buildable. So the 27 other acres, does that have potential for recreational purposes, nature preserve, something like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Neighborhood support, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a lot of potential on this site.
There's a lot of potential, but they definitely wanted to sell it as a package. They were not willing to divide it up. But yes, there's other potential for the non-buildable portions of the property.
Well, somebody did a good job in negotiating the per acre cost down. So congratulations on that. Looks very, very affordable and well thought out.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Scipio.
Yes, Ms. Tony, is the handle that's showing, is that an actual street nail off of Salem Park Drive? Is that a road, driveway, or whatever?
It is. It's how you access it. It's so you come off of, you see Griffith, so you're kind of in the city limits where the Griffith Road ends at Clemensville, and you turn right and then come down Salem Industrial Drive, and then that Salem Park Drive, there are other businesses on that drive, and then they will create an entry point onto the property from there.
But is that entry point already there, or is it just wooded, undeveloped land?
It's a lot of undeveloped land. You have to access it, so there'll need to be an access point, but we'll come off of Salem Park Drive.
Any other questions for Assistant City Manager Tony? We'll move to vote, but I will say this. Everybody knows that we need training facilities in the city of Winston-Salem. It's going to be good to get some good training for our officers. But the thing that I learned about facilities like these and others, everybody knows we need them, but nobody wants them in their backyard. I actually like the component that is sort of away from the urban core. If we can get it into the city, I have no opposition with a voluntary annexation if we get to that point. But I do like the idea of it being outside of the urban core, which serves our citizens and serves the police department at the exact same time. So with that being said, is there a motion on approval of item G1?
Move for approval.
I have a motion by Councilmember Burke. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Mundy. All in favor, please vote yes. Opposers, no.
System may be down. You may have to go back to the prior item too.
I understand.
Here we go.
All right, it looks like we've got a Technology moving in the right way. That item G1 is approved unanimously. As the attorney mentioned, we do need to get on record the vote for the consent agenda, so let's revisit that. The person who made the motion, the second, if we'll do that again on the consent agenda, so we can get that on the record, please.
I moved to approve the consent agenda.
You have the motion, the second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Larson. All in favor, please just by voice vote? Okay, well, we'll rely on the technology. I'm not opposed to moving around it, sir.
Retroactively voting.
I got to get the historical record straight. There we go.
All right, the consent is approved unanimously. That completes both the general and the consent items. Members of the council, committee, community, is there any other business that should be brought forth for consideration for the good of the order? Seeing no further business, we consider this meeting to be adjourned. Thank you.